Hi there, my name is Malcolm Wilkinson and welcome to Millennial Meals, a place where we show you how to make delicious meals and treats right in your own home. So I was going to do something a little bit different today, so I'm going to be making some Mahi-Mahi. Let's get cooking. So for the equipment, you're going to want to have an oven, an air fryer, a pan, parchment paper, or you can use tin foil, a knife, a cutting board, a small microwavable bowl, a meat thermometer, microwave, and a rubber brush. So for ingredients, you're going to want to have some seasoning salt, some Creole or Cajun seasoning, it's really up to you, a unique type of salt, a lemon, and some butter. So for our dry ingredients, you can use something like a Tony Cachera brand or maybe like a Slap Your Mama brand for your Creole or Cajun seasoning. It's really up to you on what you want to use for your Creole or Cajun seasoning on the fish. Now for the salt, you can use maybe like a pink Himalayan or maybe like a sea salt. But in this case though, I'm going to be using some smoked salt, and this is the same salt that I used in the previous video where I basically demonstrated how you can add a smoky flavor to your cheeses and your salts. Link will be below and a little video for you to click will be right over here. With that said, we'll start making our Mahi-Mahi. When it comes to Mahi-Mahi, you can cook it on the stove, you can cook it in the oven, air fryer, or even on the grill. But in this case though, I'm going to be cooking in the oven and the air fryer. I'm going to show how you can do that. But first, we're going to be showing the oven method. And in this one, I'm going to be putting it up to about 400 degrees. So with that said, I'm going to get my ingredients ready. So when you have all your fish cut up, now it's time for it to put on the pan. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to be adding my seasoning salt on top of all these, because basically I want to get these nice and coated with some seasoning salt. Because then what I'm going to do after, I'm going to add the Creole seasoning on top of these, because this is going to basically be my base for my Creole seasoning. So I'm going to add that first. And I have the parchment paper because it's going to make it a little bit easier for me to clean up after when everything is said and done. Again, you can use different type of salt or seasoning salt, it's really up to you. But again, this is going to be basically the base to my fish. Alright, now that I got my fish all nice and seasoned, I'm going to put it in the oven and I'm going to keep it in there for about 15 to 20 minutes. What we're wanting to have happen is we want the internal temperature of the fish to be at 137 degrees Fahrenheit. So with that said, I'm going to set the timer for 15 to 20 minutes. So once it's done, we'll have some nice Mahi-Mahi ready to eat. Alright, so this is going to be the air fryer method, and I'm going to be using a different type of seasoning on this, or at least a different cook method. So the first things you want to do is you want to get your butter, probably about a tablespoon of butter, and you're going to want to microwave this a little bit. Because basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to take that melted concoction, we're going to glaze it over our fish, and then after when we're done with that, I'm going to add my smoked salt on top. I'm going to throw it in the air fryer. I'm going to cook it at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. All right, so with that butter that I had earlier, I melted it down. I only used 1 tablespoon and I cooked it for about 1 minute. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using this to basically glaze on top of my Mahi-Mahi. Then after when I get done with that, I'm going to put my salt. Again, you can use sea salt, Himalayan salt. In this case, I'm going to be using some smoked salt. So once I get these nice and evenly coated, I'm going to put it in the air fryer for about 10 minutes and I'm set it to 400 degrees. Then after when everything is set and done, it should be nice and tasty. I'd suggest probably putting only like 1 fillet inside to make it a little bit easier for you when it gets done cooking. So again, in the air fryer, I'm going to set it to 400 degrees, and I'm going to set it to, so for the air fryer, I'm going to set it to 400 degrees, and I'm going to put it for about 10 minutes. Alright, so it's been over 15 minutes. The fish should be ready. Or I should say my Mahi-Mahi. Ooh, that is looking really good. So one of the first tests I'm going to see is what the internal temperature is. So this is kind of good to have a little meat thermometer. So I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to stick it in the fattest portion, at least the one that looks like it has the fattest portion. Stick it in. So we're over 137, so that's pretty good. Because what we didn't want to have happen is we didn't want to put, basically have an undercooked fish. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a flake test. So basically, the goal here is to make sure that it basically flakes when we get our fork in, and it looks like we're having some flakage. So that said, this is how you bake, or I should say oven cook, your mahi-mahi. So again, when it comes to mahi, you want to make sure that the internal temperature is about 137 degrees, because you don't want to eat uncooked fish, or I should say undercooked fish. And also, this is like an easy way of cooking it inside your oven. And pretty soon, the fryer, or I should say the air fryer, is going to be done with the mahi-mahi as well, because I got another fillet cooking in there. Again, 137 degrees for the internal temperature. I cooked in the oven for about 400 degrees. I cooked it for about 17 minutes. At the end, it should have an internal temperature of 137, and the fork test, when you put it inside, it should flake a little bit. So there shouldn't be like a whole bunch of resistance. So it shouldn't be like all in one go. Like it's not like, basically just rigid, like it's still undercooked. But with that said, now we're going to be having our air fryer almost ready. But yeah, there's something that I was forgetting to tell you. It was adding a little bit of that little bit tiny dash of lemon taste on top of my fish. I knew I forgot something when I pulled it out, but I think it's because I was enjoying the smells and other fun things like that. But yes, this will finish off the mahi-mahi in the oven. I'm not going to do it with the air fryer because I'm kind of curious at what that's going to be like as far as the concoction I made. But for this, I am definitely going to add a little bit of a lemon taste to my mahi-mahi. It's been oven baked. So when it comes to the mahi-mahi in the air fryer, it's a really easy way of doing things because I just pulled this off just a couple of minutes ago. Now with the air fryer method, it's pretty quick and easy. Just make sure when you're using the air fryer, make sure you just cook, well, I should say clean it before you use it. So if you've been using it for like a week, you haven't cleaned it, you definitely need to clean it because you don't want to have any kind of like electrical fires or anything crazy like that. But that said, this is how you make mahi-mahi in the air fryer and the oven. Y'all stay safe and have a good one. Oh, y'all still here? I guess, hey, here's a fun fact for you. Mahi-mahi means very strong in Hawaiian. Y'all stay safe and have a good one.